During the 90s, Pepsi introduced a marketing campaign in the Philippines, but a tiny error turned into a massive disaster that led to widespread riots all over the country, leading to multiple injuries and deaths. The year was 1992, and the leading soda companies at the time were PepsiCo and Coca-Cola. To gain a greater market share, Pepsi launched a marketing campaign, a contest. The campaign was called Number Fever. It promised the public a reward of 1 million pesos. Roughly around $40,000 at the time. It was very valuable to the public, as it was equivalent to roughly 611 times the average monthly salary in the Philippines. A literal, life-changing amount. It would be like winning a lottery, but the odds were better for the Filipinos than others, 28.8 million to 1 according to published ads during that time. The rules were simple. A 3-digit number was printed inside the caps of Pepsi and other affiliated bottles. Every day at 6 p.m. a winning number was announced on national TV. If any person had the winning cap, they could redeem their prize of 1 million pesos. The campaign was originally targeted to run for 12 weeks, till 8th May 1992. It became very popular, and soon, sales of Pepsi bottles skyrocketed. That part was expected. The Philippines had a large proportion of its population that needed this win. People would buy Pepsi bottles and collect huge amounts of caps to increase their chances of winning. The poor preferred to buy Pepsi instead of food in the hopes of winning. Some even went searching in dumpster and garbage to find any unclaimed caps lying around. People waited eagerly for the evening news to see if their luck had changed, if they were the lucky ones that day. As a result, monthly sales increased by $4 million. Over the initial period, 17 people had redeemed their prize of 1 million pesos, and 51 people claimed prizes of lower values. Seeing this popularity, Pepsi decided to extend the campaign for 5 more weeks. This is where things would go worse than what Pepsi had imagined. On 25th May 1992, the evening news was on air as usual. People waited on the edge of their seats because this campaign was nearing its end. They needed that lucky break, and the chance of getting that was slimming by each passing day. Then the winning number for the day was announced, 349. Now, behind-the-scenes situation was that Pepsi used a computer program to print numbers, and each winning number would only be printed on 2 bottles. That meant that a maximum of 2 people could win each numbered cap. This kept things within budget for Pepsi. It was reported that the budget for this campaign was $2 million. And the progress in the past 12 weeks ensured that everything stayed on track. But a mistake was made, a very expensive one at that, a glitch in the system or a human error. 349, a non-winning, was announced on TV. Since it was not a winning number, it was printed on hundreds of thousands of bottles. On the other side, the owners of these bottle caps celebrated their win. One after another family joined this celebration, their faces lit up seeing the number appear on the screen. Their life was about to change. They were about to escape the hardships they were in, and soon, an estimated 600,000 people were part of this celebration. Some of them even had more than 1 cap, and you can imagine their happiness. But no one was prepared for how it was about to change, customers and Pepsi executives alike. Very soon, 349 cap holders started showing up to claim their prize. It was the beginning of chaos. Police had to be brought in to intervene and keep people at a distance from Pepsi bottling plants. Seeing this chaos, Pepsi executives quickly realized that something had gone horribly wrong. A meeting was called at 3 a.m. on 27th May. After that, Pepsi clarified that even though 349 was printed on all of the caps, a security code necessary to be considered a winning cap was only on 2 of them. Pepsi maintained that they could not pay each cap holder, as it would be approximately $32 million. So they offered 500 pesos to each cap holder as a gesture of goodwill in all of this confusion. Most of the people rejected this offer. They wanted the prize after all, they had won it. Soon riots began all over the country to protest against Pepsi. A movement by the name of Coalition 349 was started that protested and forced Pepsi to honor their rules. In the next months, riots turned violent. Around 35 trucks were overturned, burned, stoned, or vandalized by protestors. More than that, Pepsi offices were targeted by Molotov cocktails, makeshift explosives, thrown into windows and front lawns. This wave of protest resulted in injuries and the deaths of 5 people. It's sad to think that all these people dreamed of changing their lives for the better. And it could not have been worse than this. These people included 3 Pepsi employees who died when a grenade was thrown in a Pepsi factory. The other two were included bystanders, a school teacher and a 5-year-old child. They died when a Molotov cocktail was thrown at a Pepsi truck and it exploded. This resulted in some negative perception of Coalition 349 as it painted them as violent and dangerous, rather than innocent people trying to stand up against a supposed wrongdoing. Another interesting theory was that Pepsi itself hired mercenaries to join the riots and initiate violence and property damage. The idea was to reduce support for Coalition 349 by creating an image of violent protests. This accusation was made by Artemio Sacco, chief of the organized crime division of the country's National Bureau of Investigation. He reported that a man had confessed to being a Pepsi security guard and knew of 3 mercenaries who were hired by the company to damage their property. After seeing that these protests did not bring the Pepsi executives to give them their reward, and was in fact working against them, Coalition 349 took matters into court. They hired a leader, Vicente Del Fiero Jr., who filed a lawsuit against Pepsi, representing almost 800 people, claiming $400 million. There were numerous court appearances. The case went on for around 14 years. Over these years, protests and riots died down, but legal proceedings were in process. There were 2 instances where Coalition 349 had a win. The court ordered the arrest of 9 Pepsi executives, and Pepsi Co. was fined 150,000 pesos by the Department of Trade and Industry for violating the approved conditions of the promotion. But these were pretty much the only wins. Soon, one after another, all of these cases in the class action suit were dismissed. The last decision came by the Philippine Supreme Court, which ruled in favor of Pepsi, and the matter was closed permanently. The court ruled. With that, all hope went away, and the 349 winners had to accept the reality and return to their lives. Most of us may not remember this severe backlash against Pepsi, but the Philippines surely does. A lot of families almost had won the lottery, and they may never forget that. Pepsi also suffered a major loss during all of this. It is estimated that due to the Number Fever campaign, Pepsi ended up losing $20 million in physical brand equity and legal costs. Let us know what your thoughts are on this incident. If you enjoyed this video and want to get more, make sure to subscribe to TW+.